Speckled hen,
Cheers.
good choice. Yes. Have you had Midnight Hen? It's a stout version.
No, I haven't tried it. I tried the golden one, which is again some kind of a joke over the car's name or something. They look like a lot of fun, but yeah.
No, the Midnight Hen's good, and the Crafty Hen's good.
Crafty Hen, that's the one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll try. I think this death cycle goes down. This year ends. I'm gonna get again horribly drunk with my family because I'm gonna spend Christmas there, and then again I will like, okay, let's stop this. So I'll try it until then.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to listen to the latest version?
Yeah.
Not on good speakers.
Very good.
On some tiny, like those ones I can see down there. I've got some of them at work.
Oh.
And they're weak. I found them in a cupboard.
No, I have a bass cap behind it for it. So
I don't have a bass cap.
Oh wow!
Unfortunately.
Would you like one? Because I have another pair.
There's not much space in my office, but I'll ask. It's a shared office as well.
What did you think?
So, I can't really tell the difference on those speakers, honestly.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I think it sounded great on the one before that. So, yeah.
I listened to it on a few different systems, and I couldn't fault it. I thought it was noticeably better than the first one with the reduction in the bass.
Yeah.
On Anadonia more than the others, it was more noticeable. But
I reduced the Anadonia quite a bit.
Yeah.
In certain parts, and then the rest of it got augmentation because I have a slap part in it that I actually boosted.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, in general, I thought that the balance of it was
It sounded better on the system's speakers with, especially on the poorer one with not as much bass response. It sounded it wasn't blowing. You know what I mean?
Well, no, now it's not necessarily mixed by a bass player, which is ridiculous because it was.
Yeah. No, it's better to have bass than not at all, though.
But I went overboard with it when we were in the studio. I was like, okay, you want bass? I give you bass. And then it was just like a bass player's solo album with you guys on it. But I'm pleased with the results. It got a tiny bit more high-end clarity, so you can actually hear cymbals better. Some of the syllables are better. The vocals are coming through a bit better, and it's just. But I want to let it go. Already.
Don't. Well, that's a shame because I've come tonight with loads of extra bits.
Oh, finally! No. Okay, look. Another 60 hours. Another 60 hours. No more. It's just 6 songs finally. No.
I think we need some saxophone.
Triangle. Yeah.
You're ruining my life.
Yeah. Like a Sound Fender crossover.
No, I can't wait to move on to something newer because we have been listening to this since March.
Yeah.
It's I looked at the first versions of when we opened up the project and everything. It's just I have never worked this long on such a short amount of music.
Yeah.
When we went to the studio, you texted in the group saying, "Bring some music that you've listened to a million times."
Yeah.
All I could think of was this record.
Yeah.
So
the first one was the same. I spent a lot of time listening to the first one, more listening probably than this one. I don't know, but I think that was an even longer project than this one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was just me. So the financial aspect of it as well. I would save up, do a sesh, and it was during COVID and stuff like that as well.
Oh God.
Which was murder for everyone. But so yeah, that was one of the reasons it dragged on a bit as well. But from Moonchild, because Moonchild was recorded separately to the other 5 tracks. There's something like 12 months in between that one track and the rest.
Really?
Yeah, the others were kind of all recorded closer together. But yeah.
All I'm hearing is how efficient we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the 4 months of me not even being in the country.
Yeah.
So how long did the first one take? Like, when did it stop?
I'm trying to think in years. Probably 2 years. But yeah, probably 2 years. It may have even been longer with COVID in there because COVID.
You just couldn't do it.
I couldn't get into the studio for a while, and then it was like masks on and stuff when we started again, and so yeah, probably from 2 years, and then got everybody else in after that.
I started like just as COVID was tailing out. I remember because I was like, "Do I need to wear a mask?" Oh.
Yeah, to the rehearsals, yeah.
Because I was also thinking like, there's this like it's gonna be quite a small room, and these rehearsal rooms tend to get quite hot and sweaty. So it's quite a good environment for COVID to breed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a plane.
Yeah.
Alex, this was your first recording session.
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
How are you? Are you proud of the results?
Yeah, I think it sounds really good. Really good.
The end of old, man. That's the most hardcore guitar sound I have ever recorded. It came out of.
I was desperate to find a use for that effect.
It is just so nasty.
Yeah. So it's based on the Sun pedal. It's Electro-Harmonix or Earthquake. I can't remember.
Wow.
But it's got octaves on it. It's a really ugly, nasty, evil sounding fuzz.
So good.
I was desperate to find a use for it, so I'm sure it will come up again. Because I do like it. It's based on a rat pedal, I think.
Uh-huh.
How much guitar nerdery do you want here? Because I can
as much as you feel like it. I mean, two of your guitarists and I am into guitar sound, and I think it's just. I mean, this is a guitarist album, to be honest. Do you think it's a guitarist album? Not a lot of solos.
If you described it as a guitar player's album, I would think it was going to sound like Rush or Dream Theater or something like technical. I'm not into that.
No.
You're not into that.
No.
You do some weird right-hand riff patterns, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it's because you're a drummer.
Fundamentally, I probably now. I started a bass player when I was 13.
Oh.
And then went to drums and guitar around the same time, but I guess drummers there's not as many, so you tend to stick to that. And only started the frontman thing like 4 years ago.
Drummers end up being in about 20 bands anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's I'm trying to think how many. I haven't been in 20, but probably 10.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, doing the drums.
And you have done a shitload of stuff before this, because Cliffy and you have been playing together for a long, long time.
Well, a big space in between. I mean, we met at college. So I was 16 when I met Cliffy.
Uh-huh.
This is 80 years ago. And I think we would jam together in the studios there. It was awesome college for that. You would have 8 recording studios, and even in you had a break, you could just go in and jam. It wasn't really college. Mm-hmm. It's a piss take.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean. It's fun. You're in a fucking studio all day with your mates playing whatever covers and shit. So we'd do that, and I remember doing Smashing Pumpkins covers with Cliffy back in like I say when I was 16, 17. And then after college,
were you drumming there as well?
No.
Does he play anything else?
He plays. I was playing guitar and drums, and I think he was playing drums. So we would jump on and off. But that I think it was I 20 when I left college, 19, 20, and I haven't seen Cliffy since. So that's like 23 years or something. No, well, 20 years because it's
Yeah.
So a long time in between. But he was the first guy I messaged when I was advertising for a drummer after the EP. So that worked out well.
He might be coming back. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did it. I think he did a great work on the album. So he was very easy to work with, which I really appreciated, because drummers are always my biggest problem that I always have with the studio. So
Anadonia, I think, in particular, he really did a number on that one.
Yeah.
And it's basic as well. It's not traditional kind of metal drumming, which is something that I didn't really. I've always thought of it more as an alternative band than a metal band, but I like to be able to dance between the two.
I'm when I joined in January, I thought this was more of a metal band, just not as much like Godsmack oriented. Like it has to have its own voice. Like in Godsmack's case, it's testosterone, everything.
Right.
And yours is a bit different, but I never thought of it as an alternative band in any. I don't know. It's more organic, but it's not. It is heavy.
When it goes, but it's got the quiet bits, which I think maybe that's what gives it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heaviest track on this one is. This EP, what would you say?
Ode.
The end of Ode.
You think?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that Anadonia chorus is.
Okay.
Without, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I think.
I don't think it could have ended better than it does with Ode. Like, it's sort of like got peaks and troughs of volume and intensity, but then the last bit of Ode is just all there.
It's a perfect ending for the EP.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
Anything you wished was done differently? Either of you, by the way.
No, yeah, I think it went a lot better than I could have anticipated. It was before, obviously, you came along and took control of the EP. It looked like it was going to, take a long time.
Yeah.
Again, the financial aspect, although that would have been split between everybody who was in the band, fair enough, but that kind of thing drags it out. And as well, getting into the studio to do, if we were recording solely in Lee's studio, it's getting in because he's so busy all the time, and that drags it out. But being able to record in your studio and then split it between the two.
My studio.
Yeah.
That's the room upstairs.
It works.
Minotaur 8.8.
Yeah, 8.8.
It's not the room upstairs.
Because it started Minotaur 6.66 because you have to mention the Satan somewhere, and I just keep moving countries, and then it's like, okay, we build another studio, and then we build another.
Yeah.
It's just.
But no, I wouldn't change anything.
I think it's great. Well, recording at home essentially is good because you can just go endless revisions. Sorry on you.
No,
sorry, Matt. But it is. We can just text and go, "Oh, can you make this bit sparklier? I want more mystery on this one. I want it to sound more mysterious."
Yeah, I'll turn up the mystery knob.
Yeah,
I do have a VST with mystery.
Yeah, but you can say stuff like that, and then you don't have to book a session, and because you might book a session, then something happens, you're late getting there, and then it's just a whole thing, and it's time that you're wasting. Whereas if you do it at home, the timeline can be anywhere you want. You could just do it at 4 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Well, it's the tech that we have done, isn't it? Because I realized that if I was born 25 years earlier, I wouldn't have been a musician. Because it's just I couldn't have afforded it.
Yeah.
The money, like Helix that you're using or the software that I'm using, it's not cheap, but it's not. I can buy a car and the rest of the software. Whereas in the 90s, you wanted to build a studio, that was the price of a house.
Yeah.
And so it's just I'm poor. So
join a club.
And a similar thing. I probably wouldn't have had the interest to keep playing. I couldn't have bought a multi-effects unit because I wanted to make all these sounds like Tom Morello and stuff, but then I can't afford pedals. I can't afford real pedals, like 300 quid each and that. Nah. And you see these rundowns of guitarists on YouTube and that. They've got this huge suitcase full of pedals, and it's like, how much money is that worth? And I can do the same thing with a Helix, which granted was 800 quid, so it's not nothing, but that's it.
Yeah,
it does everything. I don't need NAM. I don't need effects. That's it. It's all there. I love it. Yeah. But if I didn't have access to even just a multi-effects unit, because before the Helix I had just a more basic Line 6 model, and that was brilliant. But if I didn't have that, I probably would just got bored because I like making weird noises. I like making things that don't sound like guitars.
I think the big difference compared to the first EP is your presence on it.
Oh,
it's
is that a good thing?
you have so to my understanding, Steve thinks as a drummer but plays the guitar. So I can program drums under it that is matching perfectly, or when we have drummer that it fits perfectly. And once I understand the rhythmic aspect of it as a bassist, it's very easy to play on. But the signature sound that is very, very distinctive compared to the original EP is you. It's crazy how much of a fingerprint that those crazy noises have, and it's I can't wait to actually experiment more with it, because there's a lot of textural sounds that you add to it that I don't think either of us are.
This is the first before joining this band. I'd never really listened to this kind of music. I like Deftones and stuff, and Soundgarden a bit, Nirvana, stuff like that. But it's never stuff that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I've always been into doom and electronic ambient and stuff like that. So it's slow. It doesn't do much. It's obviously with doom, it's very abrasive, and a lot of the sounds in that are quite ugly. Yeah. I like ugly sounds. And then with the electronic ambient, I'm kind of the opposite. I don't like dark. Again, how nerdy do you want this to get? I don't like dark ambient because it's spooky. It's like nightmare music, stuff like that.
I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
Have you played the game Outlast or Resident Evil? Any horror game? Just all those horrible like scraping metal.
Dude, I'm a sound designer. That's my dream. The horror games. Yeah, okay.
It's like drones and like scraping sounds and like people screaming, but played backwards through a toilet or something. You know, like, I don't know, but like I don't like that kind of ambient. I like the kind of spacey, dreamy type thing, and I like to try and make those sounds on the guitar. So I normally end up putting way too much reverb and weird effects on things. I would like to get more weird, but I normally find myself getting on the Helix. I've got like a line of 10 effects, and I'm like, oh, this is too much. It just sounds like nothing now.
There's a.
So it's like learning to play a separate instrument sometimes, because you learn to control all these different effects that are all trying to do their own thing while playing the guitar at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I struggled with, actually, was just learning to let my hands do the thing and also control the buttons at the same time. Because I've never really done much of that. It was always just overdriven sound, clean sound, or clean with loads and loads of reverb on it.
How long has it been that you're playing the guitar?
I started when I was like 18. I started at school. I did it was for the Duke of Edinburgh. I had to learn a skill. My dad had a guitar in the house, a Yamaha. I thought, that'll do. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I got a few lessons off my friend who is really good. I can mention his name if you want. Tim.
Yeah.
He works on musicals and stuff now.
Tim Rice.
Tim Blue, right? No, he does guitars for musicals. I actually went to the Wizard of Oz in the town. What's the town called? Theatre Royal.
Theatre Royal, yeah.
I sat in the pit with him while he played guitar. It's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a few lessons off him to learn the basics, like a couple of chord shapes and some scale type things. But apart from that, I've not really had any sort of proper lessons. There was a couple of months, 7 or 8 years ago, when I was getting a couple of lessons, but it was sort of just loose and couldn't really afford it, so it wasn't as dedicated as it really could have been.
So weird that you have to pay for it here.
Oh, yeah.
You get it in school?
In Hungary, yes. The only reason why I went to the conservatory is because it was free.
Right.
I was able to afford it under a certain age when you don't have a diploma. So, yeah. Otherwise, yeah, in France you have to pay for it. It's really, really expensive. Mm-hmm. And otherwise and French people normally they don't speak any English, so the new generation is changing, but they weren't able to learn from YouTube either, so they are a bit behind, and I think Hungary is a bit behind as well, but we produce a lot of musicians and very good ones. I can't wait to go back home. In December, we organize an open jam session with some of my conservatory friends. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's pretty much similar to what you talked about with Cliffy. It's like I haven't seen them in years, but
you have a great time.
Yeah.
Do you have guitars over there? Or are you going to take?
No, I'll take the car and I'll bring one of the warriors.
Driving there?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. 28 hours. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah. Nah, that's not for me. Like I would just get the plane and then buy a cheap Squire bass.
No, but I have to.
While you're there,
we have to. I will have to transport other people as well. So first I go see the family in France, and then I pick up somebody in Germany. I pick up somebody in Austria, and then we end up in Budapest for a couple of days, and then the way back, and then we transport some stuff for my younger brother. So we need a car.
Like Phileas Fogg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting. This has been a fucking horrifying year. I just hope it was better for you. At least we have this to show for.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, that was the whole point, wasn't it? And the slog and everything. Yeah,
could have been worse.
Yeah.
Why do you write songs? Because it's your music in general. Like I don't know if it's obvious, but this is mostly you.
I've always, even though I've only been doing the frontman thing for like 4 or 5 years, I've always written songs, and since I was 13, 14, I don't know. It gives you a kind of strange satisfaction if you come up with something, and you like the sound of it yourself. You know what I mean? It kind of. I suppose if you build a wall and you sit back and you look at it and go, "Oh, I built that," and it's kind of the same with music, but the satisfaction I get from writing a song is more than anything else that I've found so far. I prefer writing and coming up with something as opposed to playing it live, even. I sit and sort of, I don't know, it's like you absorb something from it, and it makes you feel good, even if it doesn't matter if you're writing like a happy song or a sad song or whatever. I don't really make many happy ones, like, but it's kind of like a sense of satisfaction. I've had time off before where I haven't written anything, and I don't know, you feel like you kind of lose something, and then when you go back to it, you can kind of revisit that feeling again. So that's...
You're writing music for the same reason I do.
Yeah.
Well, except I get paid for it, but
does anyone know why? You know what I mean? It's kind of just like I say, like to fulfill a kind of self.
It sounds similar to what I came up with. What I came up with is that when you are doing arts, I think you are crossing a boundary into something unknown. It's like the best songs that I've ever written sound like I didn't even write them. It's like you received them as you were like a radio. I'm not kidding. I think in 2010 when I moved to France for the first time, 3 o'clock in the morning I woke up and I was like, and I got with the guitar and just recorded it. It's one of the best choruses I've ever written.
It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. It's like you're looking into the abyss and it looks back into you and something imprints on you. So
I saw a documentary once ages ago about just like the evolution of music. Or mentioned, or maybe it wasn't totally about that, but it mentioned it. It was like every single civilization, no matter how remote, everyone has come up with the idea of let's do music without any external influence. Like there's tribes in the Amazon who've never seen anyone else outside the tribe, and they've got their own music. And all these other countries throughout all the time of humanity have had music. It was just drums or singing or whatever it is. So they were saying like maybe it's not just art for the sake of it, because otherwise not everyone would have come up with the same idea. Like sports as well, like competition sports is a similar kind of thing. All these cultures have come up with some sort of competitive thing to prove who's the best or whatever. Music's kind of the same as that. You know, like it was a long time ago. I can't remember the details. I'm definitely not doing it justice, but the the idea is there.
Yeah.
That all these civilizations throughout time have come up with music independent of themselves and anyone else. So it's not. The idea was that they were saying it's maybe not just optional. Maybe it's essential to civilization in some level.
Yeah,
which I think is really interesting.
It is. I often while you were talking about this, I thought about how it is totally, absolutely unpredictable. I love watching the first Star Wars, which is currently the third, I think.
Yeah.
And you go to the cantina music, and that's supposed to be the music of it's 60s bebop, or I don't know. It's like and you can't predict what's going to happen. And I treat music as a language, so it communicates something. But I think it's so heavily influenced by the technology that we're using that it's impossible to say where it goes, and that's why it's a lot of fun. I don't believe in genres because of this.
Well, I've sat and thought about the how people come up with the idea and why they feel compelled to make a certain noise or note or chord or whatever. And I don't know if, obviously, different people write different songs. So for the sake of argument, you've got Cliff Richard, you've got Elton John, you've got Michael Jackson, you've got Freddie Mercury. They all write different stuff. I don't know if individually they're all doing something different or they're just tuned into some kind of creative frequency. I don't know if people get massive credit for something that they've done, something they've written. Maybe it's just something as simple as tuning in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people are obviously more susceptible than others. I don't know how much creativity is actually involved in me coming up with a song. I don't know if I'm physically doing anything. I'm not scrutinizing, like, because I wasn't trained like you. I didn't really get lessons. So I'm not thinking this
Did
skill...
you go to conservatory?
Not music. I went to college for recording.
Okay.
In the studio stuff like yourself, but not playing. So self-taught and yeah, when I'm writing and putting things together, I'm not thinking this scale works with that scale, or I know that this note sounds good. I'm searching until I find something that sounds good. So am I actually creating anything, or am I just bullshitting my way through it? You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm doing anything.
You get like, oh, that's a cool sounding chord or bit.
Yeah.
And then I just like...
So all you're doing is making a
I'll play that bit
decision.
again, and then the last note I'll change. I'm like, no, not that one. And I'll go up one or down one. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll just keep doing that until I find one
It's
that works.
just subtle decisions, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not actually doing anything.
Yeah, but isn't it the same thing when you speak your mother tongue? It should be the same. You just feel what you say what you feel. You don't think about grammar. You don't have to because you master it already.
Yeah,
That's how I approach it.
maybe.
It does help if you understand the grammar under it, and then you can go further, or you can explore what hasn't been explored or anything. But it's just like it's you communicate something, and if you have the message within you, I think it's if it wants to come out. Yeah. So I do think it's creative because you create it. Without you, it wouldn't have been born the same way.
Yeah, because otherwise you could just write an article.
Yeah, but then the next guy could do it, and the next guy could do it.
No, not the same way. You can never replicate anybody else's music either, 100%.
I don't know, with metal and stuff like that, you play a riff, you're like, no, that's his, and you think, is it? I've never heard that guy before.
Like that Animals as Leaders riff that I ripped off.
Right.
Oh yeah! Tosin Abasi. I thought of you when I saw Tosin Abasi. That's exactly. I don't know what you mean.
Tosin Abasi copied me, obviously.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if he copied anybody, it's gonna be you.
I mean, by the law of averages, what's that ridiculous statistic about every song that gets released each week on the internet? It's some obscene figure. It's like 100,000 new songs a week.
It's 7 million songs a month.
So it's even worse.
It's way worse.
So, come on. Yeah. There's so much music out there that I've never heard, couldn't possibly hear, that's being made in the most remote places. They'll be playing the same fucking thing that I'm playing.
There's only so many notes.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're limited by, the musical scale.
Well, yeah, but if you go into that, I'm being the devil's advocate here, right? Because I agree with you to some extent, but it's I like to argue.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's do you think this could have been like Incinerus could have been born without us doing this?
No, not as it is. I think like you were saying before with Alex, what he adds in terms of his everybody brings something that's unique to them, that's kind of made the sound different from the first EP to the second EP. Yeah, I don't know, the clarity and everything on the record sounds bigger, I think. But the songs themselves, they've taken on a different feel to the first record. It doesn't sound as basic maybe to my ears. I don't know if that's the Nirvana influence, maybe more in the first one where there's hardly any solos. I think there was a solo on the last track. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I don't. In this one, there's none. Is
not really. No, like there's parts where one guitar might do something.
Yeah,
that you could define as a solo, but it's not like.
I wouldn't
say it was a solo.
Anywhere. Yeah. I don't really like big traditional kind of solos, like a Kirk Hammett solo.
Oh, come on. There's nothing better. You know that.
I appreciate them and I enjoy listening to them, but for what I'm creating, I wouldn't, I couldn't play that shit anyway. So, but yeah, it kind of fits I like the simplicity of it. It's low and it's heavy and it's not insanely difficult to play, but maybe you have to think about it's challenging enough to tick the boxes, like satisfying to play, and it's good fun to play live. But
can we go through how you came up with the songs? Because this is so. Even when I joined, you brought the majority of this, the vast majority.
I think it was all, apart from Ode, I think it was all written when you joined.
Yeah.
I think everything was at least had a skeleton of it.
Yeah.
It was all.
And some have just evolved a bit more.
Yeah, but like Black Blood hasn't changed.
So when we were talking after rehearsals and everything, like you told me that these are the subjects that you write about is deeply personal to you, and some of them are really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And so
again, with the writing of them, it goes back to what I was saying before. I don't know how creative I'm actually being with it, and if I'm just kind of stumbling through in the dark. I don't set out to write. If I'm feeling a certain way or I'm thinking about a certain thing, I don't think, right, I'm going to write a song about that. I know some people can do that.
Yeah.
I can't. I'll write. I'll twiddle on until I come up with a riff, and then maybe I'll have another riff that I've written that I've enjoyed. I record everything. I've got like hundreds of riffs on the phone, and what one's put together. Sometimes I can, like you woke up the other, that night at 3 a.m. and you had an idea. I'll get that if I'm at work or I'm doing something monotonous, I might get something in my head. And then go home at night and play it, and it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And that's how everything kind of came together for the entire EP, just over time. Like you say, apart from Ode, which I think it was kind of we're in the middle of working on that one when you came in.
Yeah, the ending wasn't done yet.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You sorted the arrangement on the ending. Yeah. So I don't know. In terms of the lyrics and the theme of the song, I'll kind of look at it at the end like everyone else sometimes and think, what the fuck is this about? and then over time, after I've listened to it, and it kind of maybe forms its own thing over time that I can appreciate, you know what I mean? And I might not even know what it's about until 6 months later, and I'll think, oh yeah, that's kind of like it's about that or it's about this. So it's completely mental, all of it.
Well, like there's loads of songs that don't have any meaning. Like every single Chili Peppers song is just nonsense that rhymes.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't mean anything unless it does to them. But
I know we were talking the other day about on the first EP, Cenotaph Syndrome and Nazi Blade, and I hadn't considered the fact about it being kind of like a war sort of, German kind of theme, Nazi theme, and obviously other than the Nazi title in the track. But then I'm thinking, My Village has always, it's got like a cenotaph, and there's war memorials and stuff all around the village, and it's possibly some kind of reflection of the area that I grew up. Otherwise, because I don't sit and, watch World War movies and stuff like that. It's not, so I was perplexed about that for a while. I was thinking, why the hell did I write those two? And then back to back. And I think it's probably that. So maybe again over time I can look back at the songs and see different parts of myself in small parts or like a lyric here or there, which is interesting.
Have you ever had anything recorded before this? I mean,
yeah,
you played a lot. I mean,
all the different projects, obviously.
How do you relate to it? How does it feel listening back to that old stuff?
Like just any old
The reason
music?
why I'm asking is because we can't distance ourselves from what we have created. I think even the EP is too close to you, so it's hard to take a step back. It took me like 7 years to start appreciating what I have written before that, and I think it might be similar to you.
Yeah.
So, but how does it feel? Like anything that's like 5-10 years old, and you just listen to it, it's like, was this me?
If I've forgotten about it and I listen to it, it's nice. But it's nice to hear. Some of the projects I've done in the past, it's been like commercial trance and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to listen to that. Commercial trance.
Commercial trance.
There's such a thing. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's kind of it's like a hard trance kind of crossover.
Cool.
And I've done hip hop projects with like rappers from London and stuff like that. So I would write beats in a house when I have more of a studio setup, similar to what you've got, but not quite as good.
Wow.
So when I hear that stuff, I'm like, fucking hell. Some of it, I like it though, and I'm proud of what I did at the time. Some stuff I listen back to and I think, no, it's shit. And I think certainly these two EPs in this project, even though we're in the midst of it still, it's the best stuff I've done personally. Certainly the best work I've ever done. So I'm massively proud of the whole thing. Because it's not easy to write, 12 songs, say. I know there's a couple others floating about. Record them, get them recorded to that standard, rehearse with all you guys, get all your input. It's a massive fucking slog, and not a lot of people. I say not a lot of people do it. Yeah, you look online, where it's a big wide world and all of that, but
not a lot of people do it well.
Exactly. It's a lot of commitment, and when you think at the end of it, you're not gonna get anything for it. It's just for the pleasure of doing it. So that it's. I'm massively pleased about it. What about you? What your old stuff? Because you've been writing a long time as well.
It's a very weird combination of the stuff I like. But essentially, the reason why I joined is because I listened to your original songs from the first EP. I was like, there's something here I could contribute to it. But I think this is by far the best thing that I have mixed, which I'm very pleased about, because this is what my focus is. And like I don't think I'm a very bad bass player. But I'm certainly not the best. And it's just when I started playing bass, I wanted to be the best of on the planet. And then I saw Victor Woot and I was like, that's not happening. So, and then I started focusing on other stuff. And I think so I've been doing studio stuff since 2008, I think. I started working in studios and then bringing in my friends and everything. And what I realized is like similar to the podcast is letting other people breathe in the studio and not experiencing the anxiety I had when I had to record something just because, I'm in control, so you're safe. And that part I really enjoy. And then if the outcome is good, it's like, I like being at the helm of the whole thing while I'm in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I wanted to take on the production side of the EP, and that was a lot of fun. I'm glad to let it go now.
Yeah,
but
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but it's what was really interesting was watching you guys flourish under it, because I think a lot of little stuff came out that we wouldn't have had such an easy way of expressing or recording. And I mean, I already have all this stuff, so why not?
It comes back to like what I said before. If we weren't doing this, if we were doing this in a studio, there's a time pressure.
Yeah.
And it's like, you show up on the day with your guitar, and if you don't get it right, tough.
Yeah, you've got to be well rehearsed. Yeah.
Or you come back and you pay for another hour, and then you get that booked in. It's a whole event. Whereas with this, you can just do it a few times, get the best one, or with my setup, I can do it at home and then just send it over the internet, which is great.
Yeah.
It's similar to what we talked about before. 25 years ago, if we were recording a tape, this wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? It's so expensive, and so you get
razor blades and sellotape.
Yeah.
We'll just put it in there.
One of my friends just sent me a video on Instagram of a guy editing vocal tracks on an 8-track. And he's just spinning the tape, and he's like, okay, so here's the whole chorus, and she says something like, two, and it's like, we're gonna delete the 2, and so you mark it with the tape, and it's like, I do that under 4 seconds in Reaper. Like, why?
Yeah.
I edited almost everything that we recorded, and it's just, I have a process to go through it, but I can go through an entire album in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And the dude, it was like 20 minutes. It's like, I'm marking it. It's like,
It's the same with like photography. There's no way I would have been into film photography. It's too boring. You get like, 36 on a roll? Nah. Yeah. Nah. Cannot
sitting in the dark room half the night.
Sit in the dark with a red light on, like John Doe on 7. I don't think so.
Yeah.
My father did that. He has an entire armory now, an entire cupboard of photos, never developed even thousands and thousands of cliches, and then he went into that. Because back then there was nothing else.
Yeah.
So
and now you just end up with tens of thousands of image files on a computer that never get looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at mine sometimes, actually, the ones of the kids and stuff. Yeah. Because I thought, like your old holiday pictures that you would go to Asda and you get them all developed.
Yeah.
You never fucking look at them again. But when they're on the computer, I don't know, I tend every now and then I'll click on it. And
I've started getting some printed out again. I think it's nice to just have.
It's nice to have around the house.
Just highlights.
Yeah.
Because you get them all on your phone, you just scroll through them, but just like select the ones you want.
Yeah.
Just print out, I don't know.
Yeah.
5 a month. You end up with a massive collection pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
You get them frames, I think, on you. You put the USB in and they change the image over time. Yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah.
Have you guys shown the album, the pre-finished version, to other people?
Yeah.
A few of my friends have listened to it. Yeah. Not the most recent one, but it was. I think.
Well, I mean, that was this morning. So.
Yeah. But I sent it before we went into the studio the other week. I sent it around. And got a bit of feedback, like a little bit of reverb here or whatever, but really very, very minimal criticism, which is a good thing, I think.
Well, I mean, production-wise, I'm happy with that. What I'm curious about is that how do these people relate to you that now you are producing this? Because this is, I would think that this is something rather novel for you.
Yeah, well, I've never done anything like this before.
Which is cool.
The friends who I sent it to, Chris, who suggested putting reverb on the drums. We're kind of like in a very, very loose part-time band situation with them as well, doing sludgy, doomy, whatever. I mean, it's so loosey goosey. We haven't got a name. We'll just we'll just book a rehearsal studio once every 2 months, go and make loads of noise with horrible feedback, and then go home. It's nice. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I can write anything myself. I don't feel like I'm a very good writer of new material. I can bounce ideas off existing material, like if you come up with something, but I don't feel like coming up with things on my own is a strong point. I would like to work on it.
No, I don't know. I think I've been playing with you for a few years now, and you've got better.
I feel like I have.
Yeah, you have, and that the stuff that you sent recently was really good as well. So I think probably certainly on the next one, that'll probably change. We'll be able to work around some of the riffs that you've done, and instead of you kind of adding to the, you know what I mean? We'll add to yours.
Well, this record, even when I joined, a lot of these songs were already partially underway.
Yeah.
Some of them evolved, like we had Inhale the Gloom, which came and went, and Frail came and went, and I think Blackbird. I think that which was it? My Dark Need. That's probably the first one off this album that was written, wasn't it?
Yeah, and because
I remember
you added the nice bit to the start of that.
Yes,
that complemented my little folky riff. Yeah, that worked really well together. And then the intro as well to Black Blood of the Earth.
Yeah, well, that's the ambient thing that I'm into. You know,
yeah, it fits the theme of the band really well. I mean, it's called Gloamer. It's supposed to be kind of gloomy and stuff like that, and atmospheric, and like I say, just the opposite of happy.
We're not gonna rob a bank with this entire band.
No,
it's not gonna be.
No.
Nobody's going to sing Gloamer songs at the happy birthday party.
No, sadly not. No.
We could write a miserable birthday song. So maybe, there's a lot of miserable birthdays every day.
Yeah. and Inhale the Gloom would work. I think, I played it to a couple of my friends as well. Some of them who listened to the first EP as well quite extensively, and they'd seen it as a big step up, was the feedback.
Yeah.
Favourite track was Inhale the Gloom, which I found odd because it's you know what I mean, it's complete contrast to the rest.
Like metal music?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I still prefer that. Not that they dislike the other tracks, but standout track Inhale, I was like, it's only 2 minutes long. Now I'm thinking, should we have put that heavy middle section in and kicked it up a bit?
No, it's very
nice. Live though, you know what I mean.
It's a palate cleanser before Oud kicks in.
It is.
You know?
I think live we could add that the older thing to it again. But
it's so interesting that you said that this was a middle part of another song that never.
Yeah.
Have you heard that song?
I don't think I have.
I have a recording now. I'll send it over.
But it's so perfect. It's quite that. Honestly, it is my favorite as well, except for the end of Old. The contrast between the two is just so good, and then the last schlock of Old and the little silence that comes in. The first time you have silence on the album, it's like like a fucking orgasm. It's so good. I enjoyed doing that one. That was what I'm really curious about is what are we going to do next year, because I had a shitload of bad experiences this year, and I want to offer some ideas, and I know they are welcome, but obviously there's a shitload that we haven't recorded, and there's Ominous that we haven't finished, and I imagine you have other stuff that we.
I think we should put Ominous on ice. It's had 2 lives so far, and both have died.
Third time's a charm.
But yeah, I mean, I think we could probably cannibalise it for parts, you know.
That riff's nice, man. That first riff, innit?
It needs a chorus.
It's too discordant though. It doesn't go with anything.
This time though. The first time I recorded Frail, it was very dreary and it was so flat. But the one reason, I suppose, the main reason why I really didn't want to shake can at this time, even though I know we did and it was a wise decision, was the fucking verse. Yeah. Not just the riff, not necessarily the singing tune or anything like that.
I think the verses were very strong.
Yeah. It'll breathe again in some regard. I don't know how.
But if you look back at on YouTube on the Gloamer YouTube channel, there's like 4 videos, and one of them is Frail before I joined.
Yeah.
So it's 3
Is that still up there, is it?
Well,
I
what's
don't
last time I looked?
Yeah, I don't think I've taken that off, actually. I probably should, because
it's odd.
Yeah.
It's really weird seeing it, because like, there's a lot missing.
Yeah.
But you can tell it's like a new song that's not quite finished yet. But it's also just like there's only one guitar.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, the first year of shows was just a 3-piece.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess it did sound, well, certainly different, but too thin for me.
It's got it kind of gets the same feelings as when you watch like weird sort of animation where they try to make it realistic, but then like the eyes are dead.
Right.
And there's not real expression on the face.
Yeah.
Like PS2 games. Like old Silent Hill games.
Yes.
It's a similar kind of feel to it. There's that, you know? Like there's something not quite right with it.
Yeah.
The bones of it are there.
Yeah. It's I'll be interested to see it if it makes it on the next EP, but I'm happy to get back into another one, man. Well, writing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get another 6 tracks. I would rather keep looking forward than behind. I know we've drawn a line under this now, and we're releasing it in January. But yeah, I want to keep writing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll piece together, I suppose, new stuff, ideas, the stuff that you've done, and then just work from there. It'll all come together again. Another one.
It sounds like I work in a similar kind of way to you anyway. I've got about 1,000 recordings on my phone.
Yeah.
Some of them are like the guitars not even plugged in because I've decided, it's 11:45 at night and this is in my head now.
Yeah.
So I'll just like go upstairs and I'll try it. But then the problem is what sounds really good in my head is like, this sounds horrible. And I can't get the same sort of feeling to come out of the guitar.
Yeah. I have the same feeling every single time, and it's just I don't care. Now
in my head I'm hearing a fully produced drums, bass, everything, you know, and then it comes out as some weak, bad guitar. But yeah.
Sometimes it just sounds different in your head, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And it sounds poor when you record it. And I had that with the first EP. There was stuff that didn't end up being on that as well. It just didn't sound right once it was recorded. Most of the time when I hear something in my head, it you know what I mean, it works to some degree, but sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, but you think globally. That's one of the things that I noticed very early on. You don't think on one instrument. It's arrangements immediately because you play the drums, you know, roughly where the bass could go. There's guitar, there's vocals in mind. So it's interesting how much difference it gives when you just play the guitar. I can already hear what you have in mind for the drums, roughly.
Yeah.
Like we could decide if it's half-time snare or double-time snare. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I can figure it myself.
Yeah.
Which is not like, in my experience, guitarists tend to think like Alex thinks. Like it's textures, it's length, less about the rhythmic approach. It's more about a textural. It's more about the ambience of it. And while I appreciate that, the one reason why I think you both work very well together is because it's totally different. It goes to the same thing.
No, I agree. Yeah,
I've got absolutely no theory knowledge at all either. So,
it's not necessary.
Yeah,
I'm not even any sort of. I can't even play the basic chords. You know, like I just
neither can
I know where the fingers go for a couple of them. But I can't switch.
You only need
I can't even play Oasis.
Yeah, exactly. No.
drop D, chord, one finger, easy as that. Yeah. So that's why again I like the kind of Nirvana influence. It's more about energy, and the feeling and what you're doing as opposed to what you're necessarily playing.
Yeah,
I get that because I've never until quite recently I'd not listened to loads of Nirvana.
Yeah.
But then I found Bleach.
Yeah.
On a CD somewhere, I stuck it in the car.
It's fucking fabulous.
Really, really good. But also, I can hear a lot of your stuff in Bleach.
You will.
Like,
not that I was trying to rip it off. It's that's what I want this band to.
Yeah.
Part of that sound.
But then I went on to Nevermind. And I was like, this is horrible. I don't like any of this.
It's a lot
like
more.
A couple of songs. I like Lithium. Is that on Nevermind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Track 5. Yeah.
You know that album.
But Bleach is really good.
Yeah. I agree. Bleach is the best. Incesticide is probably my second favourite. And then Utero and Nevermind, there's a couple on each that are really outstanding, but I prefer the earliest though. Yeah. And you know what? If he'd survived, I think that by the sounds of In Utero, he was going back to a more heavier kind of primal sound and away from the commercial. Yeah. I think, yeah.
And Dave Grohl got jealous and killed him.
With a frozen salmon, and then ate the evidence.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Have you ever? Do you guys know people who got really famous with music or with anything? Why did they go crazy?
I think the crazy people are just I don't know. Maybe they don't have the filter that says don't do that.
I don't know. It's age as well. If you get a 17-year-old in that environment and the head gets that big, you know, you're looking for trouble. You're fucked. Unless you're made of really strong stuff, you're fucked. If I got famous when I was 17, I'd be dead.
Unless you're really boring, like Eddie Vedder. I think he's a more boring man.
What a voice.
Singer in Pearl Jam. I went to see Pearl Jam and he stopped halfway through. He was like, you like kids, don't do drugs.
How was he? Everyone in there would have been cracked off their face.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna do it even harder. This is the right.
He had like between a song, he had this like 5-minute story about going to a hotel in some country when he was on tour, and then there was someone on the balcony on drugs, and it just made him reevaluate his life.
Wow,
it's like, all right, it's a bit of a downer. Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah.
Play a song. Didn't even play Black either.
Really? It's yeah. I like a lot. 10 obviously is brilliant, and then there's a couple of songs off a couple of other albums that are brilliant as well. And then they wrote a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I think there was a bit dull.
Loads of bands, doesn't it? After like the 4th, 5th album, generally
Well, I think the Foo Fighters are like that. I think there's a track or two on each album since maybe Colour and the Shape, and other than that. I love the first record. I like Colour and the Shape, and then it's just, a couple of tracks.
It's all kind of a bit samey, isn't it?
Korn were the same. First 2 records were fabulous. Follow the Leader there's a couple on there, all right, and then it just fell apart. For me, anyway.
Yeah. I don't know them that well.
Yeah.
If you could invite anybody for the next record, anybody as a guest, who would that be?
Tom York.
Tom York?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you'd kick us out of the band and be like, fuck off, Tom York. No, but 100%.
That's a quick answer as well. You thought about this.
No, I've said it before. Someone's asked us that before. If I had a chance to work with anybody, it would be Tom York. Yeah.
I watched some videos of Radiohead recently. The guitarist still looks like he's 21, and Tom York looks like he's about 1,000 years old.
Fucking Yoda. Yeah. Well, I think Radiohead are done now. I think it's the Smile, isn't it? They've got a couple of records out now. Well, yeah, I think it's him and Greenwood, so him and the guitarist, old and young, and then a couple of new guys. But yeah, some of it's very Radiohead-esque. It's basically like an extension of that. That's what it sounds like. But
that is crazy. I thought that was in a metal band.
You've said before that a lot of the things you kind of come up with are basically Radiohead copies.
Yeah, and done in a metal way, but no one would ever fucking be able to find it. But I can see where it is. You know what I mean? Dismal Dawn. The chord changes on there. Not the picking pattern or the sounds or the instrumentation, anything like that. But the chords are very similar, if not the same, to a Radiohead song. Again, it was by accident. I was playing it. I thought, oh, this sounds nice. And I thought, hang on a minute. And then, you realise, like, oh, it's those chords. Maybe that's why I put it together. But you'd never find it in a million years, I hope.
That's my favourite song off the first one.
Dismal, right? Yeah,
I like Nazi Bird in that one.
Right, yeah.
But again, with me, generally like a slower, doomy music.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Normally, most albums have got the last track as the slowest one. Not most albums, but if there's a slow track, it's going to be the last one, is what I meant.
Yeah.
Anything you recently posted, anything, I just take a listen to it. It's like you're exposing me to music I would never even click on, not even close. It's just widening my horizons, but I don't
In a
know.
good way or not?
Have
you enjoyed it?
There's no bad way of being exposed to music. But I do enjoy some of it. I do have a limit of tolerance when I'm like, okay, some melody, something, come on. And so I want some boobs, blonde hair, something. Bring me something I can enjoy. But it's interesting how I've forgotten about this. How much you can be exposed to other music that you would no way. You would have no way of knowing of in any other way. So I appreciate us sharing music in WhatsApp, because that I learned so much. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Also, I have a list on Spotify that's called the Illistenables, and some of your recommendations immediately went to it, and I show up with it. It's like, try to listen to this for a minute and a half and see if you survive.
Yeah.
What? Which song has made it under that list?
I'll show you.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's because I can listen to it, but we have a very particular taste in music, and also we have. I wouldn't say it's formal education, but it's some kind of education that you are exposing yourself to a lot of weird shit and stuff that's difficult to listen to. Other people aren't like this.
Yeah.
So if you want to stress them out at a party, I'm very good at that.
I've got a playlist on Spotify called Hideous Music.
We should share.
It's just
Blobby.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I find Meshuggah hideous music.
It's fabulous.
I wouldn't put it on that playlist, but I can't listen to too much Meshuggah because it gives me a headache.
Yeah,
right.
I can see why.
I think it's because nothing follows a straight line. It's never like do do do.
I don't know. The snare's always on 4. You can nod your head to the snare, but nothing else. I love it.
It's brutal how much those people practice.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I've seen them twice, Meshuggah, despite not being a big fan.
Now
I saw them in Birmingham. I saw them at Arctangent Festival, and they are very, very good live. But it's just too intense. I can't deal with it.
Too much.
And then the lasers are going. It's like, can't see.
Yeah, that's why I particularly
it's like a panic attack.
I like the dynamic of this, where we've got the quiet and then the heavy. When it's just relentless heaviness, I do love it, because I love Will Haven, and I think they don't have a. Even they've got one quiet track that springs to mind, but he's still screaming in the track. It's just the guitar that's undistorted, so it doesn't count. And the stuff you listen to, I know, is just brutal.
A lot of it is.
I know it's slow.
I find a lot of melody in it,
right?
Especially with like when it's just one chord for 15 seconds, and it's just fuzz and delay and stuff. I like the swirly sound that you get out of it.
Like the harmonics that come off.
There's 2 guitars doing the same thing. I don't know what the right words are for it. I'm sure you do. When I'm making this up, if you look at the square waves of a fuzz pedal, when they're just sort of like not quite matching up, it sounds like
out of phase.
It sounds like if they're matched up properly, you would just get gaps. Like it would be choppy.
Right.
But I like it when it's not quite there yet.
Right.
I like when fuzz pedals sound like farts. So,
do you know what harmony is, mathematically speaking? I'm gonna give a little bit of
actually, I'll tell you. In school, we did a physics lesson once, and the teacher had 2 speakers playing some sort of frequency or sound, and he moved one across the room, and when it got closer, the sound chopped and then went silent, and then moved on again. Don't know the science behind it, but that's all I remember. That was a point.
Well, that's a counter phase, but it's close. But what happens is, like, you know of A 44 hertz, an octave above is 8080, so 880. So essentially, perfect harmonies are stuff that you can divide without remainders. So what you like is when there's a tiny bit of remainder, and that's the nasty stuff. When it's the 0.111 something introduces, and then Alex is like,
yeah.
I had a guitarist like you, like he was listening to this. It's like, that's when it's good. Try to understand. It always has to be false. So
yeah. I'm sure psychologists could dig into those.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't pay for therapy for that. I think it's for the benefit of the band.
It's healthy.
yeah, it's healthy for us at least.
Yeah,
So.
I know what I like. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think if we are targeting anything for the next one, I think we should target one that's long and one that's dreary, like what you like. Only texture based, just for the fun of it, and see what happens, and then we might throw it out. By the way, never in my entire career this happened that we have thrown something out. This is the first experience I had. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, because we never stop until it's done, and
sometimes it's best to just let it go.
Yeah,
It wasn't going to be ready in time. We could spend months on Ominous.
That is true. Well, yeah, that is true. That is true. And this is and the reason why I let it go is because it does not match the arc of the EP. It doesn't matter if you figure it out. You can't put it anywhere where it feels good.
So do you think the new EP is likely to sound maybe more the way Ominous was
I
heading?
really hope so, because there's something in it that
It's
I
more
really like.
metal though, isn't it? And it's less alt.
I mean,
like you're saying there about doing maybe a doom song. I like the idea of having a part of a song that's a certain way. Or like on this EP, the verse choruses, but the end of each of the songs has a completely different ending to what's going on in the song throughout the EP. And I like that because it kind of keeps you guessing, or you're looking forward to this bit coming at the end, and that's why you know what I mean? If you're not digging the chorus as much as this, but there's kind of something in there that's... But again, that wasn't intentional. It's probably just the way that I write, having a completely different end section. On the first record, that was probably the same.
what really surprised me is the end of Die Dark Need, because when I came in, it wasn't there.
No, it never has been.
No, I've had that riff around the same time that the song came to be, but it never made it into any iteration because of the tempo issue. If it was played at the pace of the song when it comes in, I don't know, what is it, 120 or 80? I'm not sure what it is. The main riff. It's too fast, you can't play it, or it sounds fucking stupid. So it took an accident, or a happy accident, when I was recording it with you. We slowed it down for that midsection.
No.
That took it to the tempo that accepted that riff. So if that hadn't happened, that riff probably wouldn't have ended up in the end, and it would have stayed a short track. So, but now it's fucking fabulous. Really, the way that it kind of, I love it from start to finish. It's kind of like a big epic track, in its own kind of way.
It's so nasty with the simplicity. It's so nasty.
Yeah.
I remember after you guys did maybe the first vocal session,
Yeah.
we sent through whatever songs you did, and that was the one. It was Die Dark Need that surprised me the most, because I knew what it sounded like, because we played live plenty of times, and I knew the other ones sounded like as well. But when I added that sort of, which I guess is now the midsection, the sort of like quiet a bit before the new end section.
Yeah.
It was just really surprising. It wasn't what I expected, because I didn't know there was going to be that bit there.
Yeah.
That's never how we've always just ended it as we did.
Yeah.
So then having that new bit was a surprise to me for the guitar and the vocals.
Yeah.
And it really added a lot. And then, following up with that new end section as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings it sort of life, because the song itself is very basic. There's only 2 riffs in it.
Yeah.
So I think without that, it would have felt a bit...
Would have fell short, yeah.
It would just, a bit flat.
It was too short a song as well, the way it finished.
But I think the way it is now, if we wanted to put a set still live, but had a time constraint, we could just cut that last bit out.
Yeah.
It's powerful on it. It is powerful, it adds a lot to the song, but if we wanted just a snappy set, nothing slow, no like intro, Black Blood or anything like that, just all go.
Yeah.
I think we could just take that bit out.
Yeah.
Or just somehow go straight to the doo-doo bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah.
What else should we do? I say an opera duet.
An opera duet.
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson has to be on it. I don't care in what capacity.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be doing operatic metal. My voice is too...
I know people.
Yeah.
It's going to be expensive, but I'm not paying, so it's fine.
Get the surgery done.
we would
Put
have
in my vocal cords.
we would have a very niche audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, as we go on, it'll probably keep the same kind of gloomy feel, that kind of dark feel to it. But I don't know. I think it might end up going down the route of where Ominous was kind of left off. And again, we were talking about doing different songs there. I'd still want to do a fast fucking song.
Yeah.
But we are limited to a degree with how fast the drummer will play.
That and it's really low tuned. Anything that is this low tuned is very difficult to mix when it's fast because low frequency need time.
Yeah.
So it needs time to express itself. So
Yeah.
it would have to be written in a very specific way.
I think like Machine Head, the more things change, that's fucking blisteringly fast. But I know what you mean. It's low. It's very
A lot of Meshuggah's tuned very low as well. That's speedy.
It is.
It's sort of not as distorted as what we're using though. It's
they're on eights. Yeah, they're playing 8 strings, so it's got that metallic kind of.
Sometimes they play 9 strings.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, what is the use of that? That is,
yeah, it's weird. It's got a nice tone to it. I like it.
But it comes from the bass, and the bass is played halftime, so it's a very clever arrangement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of what you hear and you think is the guitar tone is coming from the bass. It's crazy.
A lot of the first Slipknot album was very low tuned. That's drop B, I think.
Right.
Well, I was in drop B. I don't know the first one. I mean, that's quite fast. I think I sounds excellent as well. Left Behind is really, really good. I love the guitar tone on Left Behind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice.
We'll steal it.
Yeah.
If you get that glow in the dark amp, don't they have a thing where you can plug it in and it'll like suck the guitar tone off a song and copy it on the amp?
Ooh, I don't know.
It might.
That sounds interesting, doesn't it?
No,
You can just tone capture. It's called. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's a couple of units that came out this year that could be interest of you.
Right.
Was it Kemper?
Kemper has one. Neural has one, and I think it's Amplitude that has one. So Tone Effects.
I think it's only line 6 of all the main ones.
And then we have the line 6, but line 6 is I don't think they have a modeling one. I mean, it's a modeling one, but it's not a capturing one.
Yeah, I don't want to steal someone else's guitar. I like using gear that no one else uses.
Yeah, come up with your own shit.
Yeah. Like, it's not often you see Telecasters in metal bands.
No.
Yeah.
Except for
see, Radiohead used a Telecaster.
You do.
He's Radiohead and he don't even know it.
I like OK Computer's okay, but it's quite dreary though.
That's what my lass says. Oh, you're putting the dreary shit on again.
Yeah.
You know, when I put it on the car, I'm thinking, oh, fuck it up.
This is how she speaks to you.
Just about Radiohead.
Yeah. No, and it's an interesting point of view.
Yeah, she just, and I get it. I understand why people hear that, but I'm like, you know, your guitarist friend who hears just that tiny little something and it fucking tickles the ivories, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like that with Radiohead, it can be something so subtle, and it means something massive musically. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it makes me think that maybe they have decided this before they even started recording, that okay, we're gonna focus on that one particular delay effect, or on one aspect, and then build the whole album onto that. I don't think you can do that today, because it would be just so. You did the Radiohead, and then you're done, and.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that. I like that we have our own fingerprint when it comes to that. So
yeah,
it's very hard to describe what we sound like.
Yeah,
because people who are generally into heavy music anyway are like, it's kind of a bit like Deftones, but not.
Yeah,
not really.
And Tool. Someone said Tool.
A bit of Tool.
Soundgarden.
Some Gojira bits.
Yeah,
with the picking patterns.
I heard Elton John all over.
Yeah.
It's very hard to describe what it sounds like, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to just be like, not naming names. We've played with bands who are just clones of more popular bands.
Yeah, they're very generic. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't that'll interest maybe like music people who are music fans, but not necessarily music players.
Yeah,
I think if you play music, you do have a different kind of what you want to hear is different. Like catchy music, a catchy song can turn me off in like 5 seconds. I just think it's catchy. I don't want to fucking hear it. Yeah.
You want something ugly?
Yeah. I think if something's been done deliberately or they've used a certain chord pattern because of the reason that it's catchy, I think no.
The catchy's not bad.
Yeah. I don't care how talented they are.
Yeah. I thought that the Ominous chorus was very catchy.
Right. Yeah.
It didn't sound. Yeah. I liked it generally.
Yeah. I think at first I liked it more, and then over time, it didn't sound as good on tape as it did in my head.
Right.
And it still sounds all right in my head, but then I listen on the tape and I'm like, no, it doesn't cut it.
I think it's just a pre-chorus. I think it's just missing the chorus. It's good as it is. It's just missing a section.
I agree. That's another thing that I never normally have done pre-choruses. I tend there's more uniformity in the writing of a song when you do that. I guess adding all of these little extra bits in, and I was listening to Planet Rock the other day or something, and there was some new generic metal band, and they had pre-choruses, and it was everything was, and I don't know, it sounded. I think pre-choruses on. I certainly couldn't do it on every song. I think if a song needs it, like this one, I think yeah. But some bands have got albums where it's literally that uniformed, and I couldn't. No.
Oh, when it's a gimmick, it can become too much.
Exactly, yeah. But
Mastodon are a bit like that. Now, I love Mastodon, but the last couple of albums have been very formulaic.
Yeah.
Good. I still like their songs, but it's always like it starts with the chorus riff, and then there's a verse, and then there's half the chorus, and then the verse, and then a full chorus.
That's the way Korn went, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing. I think Mastodon are great, but
it's too. Yeah.
When you notice it, it's hard to unnotice it.
Yeah, I like that.
Like I've noticed in every single Muse song, Matt Bellamy goes before every line.
And they leave that in.
It's there.
That's the engineer fucking pissing himself on it.
Origin of Symmetry and Absolution is there.
Thank you for ruining Muse for everybody.
You can edit this bit out, so no one has to.
No. This is gonna be on the thumbnail, man.
Yeah.
I know. I noticed it when I was driving to work a few weeks ago. I had Origin and Symmetry on, and I was like, oh, I wish I knew that.
What's your favourite Muse song?
Plug-in Baby.
Right. Mine's Micro Cuts. It's fucking fabulous. Have you heard it?
I don't know.
I've never heard a vocal like it, and the chords and everything. It's just massive.
How are we listening to such different music?
I like Newborn as well.
No, that's brilliant as well. Yeah. Plug-in Baby, I agree with you, but I don't know. I've listened to it so much. Yeah. It's kind of just waned now.
That's kind of. It's probably the ugliest song on the record as well.
Right.
There's loads of feedback and screeching and weird squealy fuzz factory noises.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, that's another band that fell off for me. Like I think.
Yeah.
More recently, they went that electronic way, and
I didn't think Black Holes and Revolutions was very good.
I didn't like that.
And anything after that is unlistenable.
It's
How many bands have we lost the last 20 years?
Oh yeah, a lot. And I don't listen to any new music. I'm sure there's loads of fabulous bands out there.
There are.
But I don't. I'll buy it. What do I buy? I'll listen to on YouTube. Old bands that bring out new records. But I don't listen to any new bands, which doesn't say a lot for us, really, does it?
Yeah. I listen to a lot of new bands still.
That's good. That's good, and I'm pleased that people do.
I love going to gigs and festivals and stuff, and I like going to see the supports because a lot of the time for like niche things like doom stuff, the supports are as good as the main one.
Yeah.
Because it's such a small audience, it feels like there's not much in it.
Yeah.
Some ones get chosen.
How did you get into this doom thing this much? Like this is.
I'll tell you the very first time I realised that I like doom.
It was a cold.
I'm driving around in my friend's car in school, so it must have been like 17 or 18. And we're listening to Tool, and it was Parabola.
Yeah.
The last 60 seconds of it, it's just droning sort of noise, and they would always skip. And I'm like, no, leave it on. It's the best bit. And I was like, I want that, but I want more. I want a whole song made of just that.
Yeah.
And just kind of found that. But I've always sort of liked the ambient thing. Was probably my first sort of like genre that I got really into.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Aphex Twin and Brian Eno and stuff like that. Aphex Twin probably the main one, to be fair, because a lot of that is ugly sounds. I don't really, now that I'm thinking about it, it's odd. I don't know where it came from. There was Aphex Twin music on Salad Fingers cartoon. Remember Salad Fingers?
Oh God, no! I know. I know what it is.
I've heard of Robot Chicken.
Oh well,
I've never heard of Salad Fingers.
I'll enlighten you. I'll send you some really dark cartoons.
Wicked.
It's like the YouTube shit. It's the Doom equivalent in the cartoon.
It's sort of
so eerie.
Eerie is a good word for it. It's like Flash animations. Remember them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like the early days of the internet type thing, and you just did Salad Fingers. It was this sort of series of cartoons about this guy who had big long green fingers.
Sounds creepy.
It is creepy.
Yeah.
And there's anyway.
I never enjoyed it, but I know it. It's when Newgrounds Com was big.
Yeah, it's a similar sort of vibe. Yeah.
Mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
That was but the internet was new for me.
Yeah.
Oh God, I miss that. No social media, none of this shit that we experienced there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to engage with it.
Yeah.
Feels like we had enough.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions in mind?
I always have a myriad of questions. I would have loved to go through the stories behind the songs, but I think we can do that maybe some other time as well. And it's just I just wanted to sit down and talk about this because I had a very turbulent year, and this is one of the good things that comes out of it.
Yeah.
And it's just I enjoy doing this, and I think in 5 years this is going to be a conversation funny to listen back to, and that's
We've completely changed direction, and
by then you're gonna be
we've got a dance routine. And,
blonde pop band, and dinosaurs in the background.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to move on to the next one and see where we go.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a good year, hopefully, as long as we don't go to fucking war.
I don't think we will.
I'm not going to war. Can't be asked for that.
Good lad. Yeah.
Last question. If you had to join a flat Earth society, would you join the people who believe that you can fall off at the edge, or you would join the people who think that there's a whole ice ring around the thing and then archers shoot you down from far?
I like the ice wall.
I've heard of it, the ice wall, but I didn't know there was archers on it. Because who are they employed by?
Don't look at me. I haven't chosen yet either.
Right. So there's also flat Earth, but there's also hollow Earth.
Right?
And there's like a lizard people living inside the Earth.
Of course, there are lizard people.
So,
you're one of those people who believe in the moon. Come on, man.
The moon's a hologram.
Of course it is.
Yeah, right. So sometimes this is a bit of a tangent. Sometimes if I'm on the metro and it's like the last metro of the night, and you encounter the night people, who are basically.
This is gonna be a good story.
So if you watch like
sucky fucky laugh.
If you watch like a David Attenborough documentary where it's like an ocean under the sea documentary, and then when you get so far down, the sunlight can't get there, and the fish get really ugly.
Mm-hmm.
They're the night people. Where the sun, they only come out at night.
Like
they're always on the last minute. That's where they live. They're gloamers, right? What's happened there?
The TV just went off.
Is it still recording?
Newcastle. Everything's working. Newcastle, Newcastle is it's eerie how you. It's interesting how you explain it, because I'm an outsider, obviously, and so my night. When I look at your night people, I see a very different thing, and it is peculiar, the kind of night people that you have here, for sure.
We do get odd night people, but anyway, the night people normally they're always quite talkative on the metro, and they will say things like the moon's a hologram, or flat Earth, or hollow Earth. They're the kind of people I like to wind them up a little bit. So I normally go along with it, and then I'll try and combine two conspiracies at the same time. Like if they say George Bush deliberately crashed the planes into the Twin Towers, I'll go, no, the Twin Towers never even existed. It was all a myth, all from the very start. They were never even there, right? Or if they say about flat Earth, there's also hollow Earth. But then you confuse me like, okay, so it's a flat Earth, but also hollow, like a pizza box.
Right.
Right?
Or a polo mint.
Yeah. I like confusing them because you see it in their eyes, and the eyes like turn to glass.
Yeah.
You like the fans in their brains start going faster. Yeah. Night people anyway. Yeah.
I don't do that shit anymore, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Trillions is home of the night people.
Yeah.
They're the night people. I feel at home with the night people.
Yeah. Yeah, I always have a good time when I'm in Trillions.
Yeah.
It's like, cheers, everybody knows your name, eh?
There's not many good, there's not really many rock and metal bars at all. Not in Newcastle.
There's only Trillions now, isn't there?
There's one that has rock nights, but I don't know. I've never actually been. Incinerus?
Never been in it.
No. The Lubber Fiend is dark. That's night people all over.
Right.
The windows are painted black and sticky.
And they have live bands?
Yeah.
We'll have to play there.
Yeah, that's my favourite venue in town.
Yeah, we'll have to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could go down once. I would love to discover, especially if I have to move. I would love to know a bit more about the area around it.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, because
there is cool venues in Newcastle. To be fair,
yeah.
Not loads. It's not as popular as it probably was years ago, but there are
it's a shame.
Good venues. The Clooney's great as well. I like that.
Yeah, anywhere down in Oosburn, I think there's a bunch of live venues down there now.
Yeah, Oosburn's just like the California. It's like LA of the Northeast.
Yeah.
It's cool. It does interesting things. Cool people hang out there.
Yeah, it's very arty, isn't it?
Yeah, nifty. Good.
I'll have you send a list to me about this.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go to the toilet and I'm going to shut this down.
Yeah.
We're going to take some photos?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to set this thing up? Have you got something?
What is this?
That's a swing.
It's a sex swing.
Everybody thinks it's a sex swing. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll do this again sometime again.
Definitely. Yeah, this has been fun.
Thank you, boys.
I'll send you the bill.
Yeah.